Welcome to the Pro Aging Podcast. I'm Steve Gurney, founder of the Positive Aging Community. We're thrilled to have you join us for interactive discussions with pioneers and thought leaders on a wide variety of topics related to aging and longevity. These insightful discussions and the Positive Aging Sourcebook are brought to you thanks to the support from our Positive Aging Community champions. Visit proaging.com to connect with them and discover hundreds of valuable other resources. We're excited to have you with us today, so let's jump into an engaging Positive Aging live and interactive discussion. All right, folks, I am really excited today to introduce you to a concept called memory cafes. And to help me do that, I've got Mary and Beth. But before we dive into memory cafes, Mary, tell us a little bit about your role and your organization and its role in the Memory Cafe Alliance.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Steve, and thank you to Pro Aging for inviting us onto your podcast. We're really excited about the series that you're offering for Dementia Friendly America. My name is Mary Eck, and I am the director of Dementia Friendly America. I've actually been involved in this effort since 2011 when this work began in Minnesota as a statewide initiative called Act on Alzheimer's. And Beth, who you'll be hearing from soon, was also one of our early adopters and part of this work. And she has been very active in Massachusetts as well as kind of a pioneer of both our community effort, our memory cafes, our dementia friends. She's touched on it all. And so she's been a huge gift to Dementia Friendly America. And so now DFA is a community effort and an individual effort to create communities where people living with dementia and their care partners can live, engage, and thrive in community. And we do this through a multi-sector approach, knowing that everyone has a role to play in creating communities that are welcoming and engaging for people living with dementia and their care partners. As I mentioned, this effort began back in 2011 in Minnesota, but it was adopted as a national effort in 2015 at the White House Conference on Aging. And US Aging, our administrators of this effort, have been just an incredible partner in this work. So US Aging is the membership organization and advocacy organization for area agencies on aging and Title VI programs. And they knew that they were a great partner for this work, given their reach through the Aging Network, through the AAAs, the Title VI programs, and just aging organizations beyond that. So we have been under their umbrella since 2015. We now have, over 400 communities that have joined the DFA network. We have 225,000, and that number is growing, dementia friends. And our most recent partnership has been with the Memory Cafe Alliance. And so we're thrilled to host the Memory Cafe directory and curriculum for starting a memory cafe on the DFA website. And I think now I will hand it over to Beth, who is the memory cafe expert.
Well, and before you do that, I just want to share the DFA America website, which is dfaamerica.org. And you can see here all these initiatives that Mary was just talking about on the top navigation bar: Dementia Friends, the Memory Care Alliance. And then I also want to give a shout out for a really cool event that we've got coming up, the Dementia Friendsgiving, which is on Tuesday, November 18th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. This is an opportunity where people are going to be able to make connections, and you'll be able to connect with folks like Mary and Beth as and other folks along this initiative. So
and you say initiative, Steve, and it's exciting because what started as an initiative is now a movement, and we have so many people
I like
engaged.
it.
in this work. And so, yeah, the Friendsgiving will be an opportunity to both celebrate people that have been involved in this work and to educate and raise awareness for those who are new to learning about DFA. So we'll do a deeper dive
Love it.
into our community efforts, into our Dementia Friends program, memory cafes, and we're even hosting an after party where
Right.
people
I
can
love it.
come and join kind of the area of their interest for an extra hour of learning and engagement.
I love it. Man, I'm so excited about that event. But I'm even more excited to talk to Beth because Beth, I've done a little reading on your background, and not only do you run a memory cafe, but you are, I would say, one of the main people behind this movement of memory cafes. So let's get to know you a little bit better and give us a little bit of your background.
Thanks, Steve. I'm so happy to be here with you and Mary today and talk about one of my absolute favorite things, which is memory cafes. I'm a social worker at Jewish Family and Children's Service in the greater Boston area. And in 2014, I started the JFNCS Memory Cafe. There was a lot of curiosity among other organizations in my area. So I hosted a meeting. There were 8 people there. The first meeting, I said, well, maybe we can all share what we know and encourage more of these to start. And now, 11 years later, there are about 2,000 people part of the JFNCS Percolator Network, and our resources have helped people start hundreds of cafes across the US. And I have to say, memory cafes are a global movement. The first one started in Holland, and they've really spread worldwide due to the efforts of so many people. So I am just one among many, many who've been the engine behind this. And in fact, I'm happy to say that this network has outgrown us here in Greater Boston. And so very gratefully, I'm part of the team that's been building the Memory Cafe Alliance, which is powered by Dementia Friendly America. And Dementia Friendly America is really the perfect home for it. As Mary described, it is a place that people who want to make our communities safer, more respectful, more inclusive, more livable for the many, many people living with cognitive changes or a dementia diagnosis, and all those people who care about them can come together and figure out how we can do that together. So that's what brings me here today.
Wow. No, I love it. Okay. And I know we've got a video that I'm going to play in a moment, some 1 minute video, but could you sort of give us an overview of what exactly is a memory cafe?
A memory cafe is a welcoming, fun, social gathering for people living with cognitive changes or dementia and the people who care about them. And the primary goal is social connection, because it can be lonely to live with dementia. It can be lonely to care about somebody living with dementia. And so we are really trying to interrupt that in actually a very joyful way. And I think you'll see that in the video.
Oh, I love it. All right. So let me share this video here and then we will jump right back to our discussion.
Memory cafes are welcoming social gatherings for people with cognitive changes or dementia, along with caring family members, friends, and professional caregivers.
It's a social hour which we all need.
We feel very normal.
At a memory cafe, you'll experience joy, community, and a chance to learn new things.
I learned that we're all human in a memory cafe.
I learned joy at Memory Cafe.
I learned about the power of community at a memory cafe.
You may find guest artists, musicians, and dancers, or educational programs at a memory cafe. But above all, you'll find a place to connect with others who understand what you're going through because they are experiencing something similar. These gatherings are free. Be a part of a growing community of memory cafes nationwide and join us.
You should join us next time.
You should join us next time.
Please come and join me next time.
Come and join us.
Learn more at memorycafedirectory.com. You can find a cafe near you or learn how to start one in your community.
Thanks for participating.
Wow, that was wonderful. And it really gave me uh, a better picture of the variety. When you said memory cafe, what popped into my mind is people sitting around at tables drinking, having a cup of coffee. But I imagine that could be the format of some memory cafes. But let's dive deeper into um, how these are organized and how we find out about them and how we get more involved.
Absolutely. And I love that video. It shows some of that variety. You saw cafes there in Boston, Pima, Arizona, and Chicago. So cafes are unique. They are all independently run and they fit their local community. And yet there are some underlying shared principles. And so, first and foremost, the goal is to bring people together. And we know that dementia can be an isolating experience because the activities that a person maybe had done for many years perhaps don't work so well anymore. That can be due to the symptoms of dementia. And it also can be a side effect of really that we in our communities don't always know how to respond when someone we care about has dementia. There's a lot of silence about it, there's a lot of stigma, there's a fair bit of misinformation out there. So, what can happen is that sometimes people start to become isolated. And so, the goal is to really create a context where people can enjoy time together there, but also form new social connections. Another benefit is that by bringing something joyful into the mix, we are helping to reduce the stigma. A lot of times people don't think of joy as being possible when someone's living with a very difficult medical condition. But people can live with dementia for many, many years, and they got to keep living their lives. The people who care about them have to keep living their lives. So we want to show that people are living and can live well with dementia. And a memory cafe is a place that you see that very boldly. They meet in accessible locations, lots of different kinds of places, everything from libraries to community centers to botanical gardens to museums, senior centers. We had one for a while in a bowling alley in Boston.
Oh,
So
that is
there's,
great.
yeah, there's huge, huge variety. And again, it really comes down to the local community and what the resources are there. And then there's just one other kind of core principle that I want to really mention, which is that no diagnosis is required because not everybody's been diagnosed. It can be hard and a long process to get a diagnosis. Because of all the stigma, not everyone pursues it. Some people have a symptom called anosognosia, which makes it hard for them to be aware of the changes in their thinking. So, of course, it's not going to be a welcoming environment if they have to label themselves with a diagnosis. So we really want cafes to offer an open door no matter what a person's situation is. So when you go to a cafe, no one's going to ask you if you have a diagnosis or what it is. They're just going to make you a name tag with your first name. It's going to look the same whether you're someone living with cognitive changes, whether you're a family member, whether you're a volunteer or staff person. We're all there with our name tag, with our first name. We're all there as people together.
Man, I love it. I love the open-ended nature of and the format and just what you said there. I mean, the diagnosis, I talk to people all the time that get this diagnosis, and it's sort of they describe it many times as this black cloud over them that lingers for a while until they realize that, wow, I can still live a purposeful life. And the memory cafes and the ability to connect with other people who are in the same situation sounds amazing. Now, we've talked a little bit about the Memory Cafe Alliance. Can you dive into a little bit of what that is?
Absolutely. The way I think about it is that the Memory Cafe Alliance helps to water the grassroots. So every cafe is independently run. They are really hyper local kinds of programs where they're gonna, sometimes I say they look like the local coffee shop before we had national chains. They're going to really be unique, and that's the way it should be. But there are these shared principles, and also we can help each other a lot when we work together. So the Memory Cafe Alliance is a way to do that. And it has three basic functions. The first is to help members of the public to find their memory cafes. And I know that in a minute we'll show a directory that's been created to do that. And I am using the plural cafes because some people pick one cafe, they love it, that's where they go. Some people will try several and may end up attending several throughout the month. And that's one of the benefits when your local area becomes more, when many cafes develop in your local area. So where I am in Greater Boston, there are probably, 15 memory cafes within a 20-mile radius. And part of having this directory and these resources to help everyone connect is it makes it easier for people to schedule them in ways that they complement rather than conflict. So then you have this really rich array of social opportunities to go to throughout the month. So we help people find their memory cafes. And then secondly, we help people learn how to start a cafe. And our goal is to see 10 times as many memory cafes across the country. So we have a free online training and many other resources. And then the third function that the Memory Cafe Alliance has is to serve as a learning community for the people who are running cafes right now. We have quarterly online convenings and a newsletter and all kinds of ways that we make it easy for people running cafes to get feedback from one another and really over time to just keep what we're doing fresh and lively and sustainable.
I love it. Now, you'd mentioned the directory search, and folks, you can go to the website memorycafedirectory.com, and what we've got on the screen right now is a screenshot where we're searching by location. This happens to be in Chicago, and I'm actually blown away just, in downtown Chicago at all of these memory cafes. I didn't know that this many of these existed.
Yeah, so this is a search over a 10-mile radius in Chicago, and you see cafes in different languages. There's one that is in Spanish, there's one that's in Mandarin and Cantonese, there are 3 that are in English. So these are some of the ways that cafes vary to fit their local community. And then if you want to go to the next screen, one feature I really like about this directory, with one click, you can produce this PDF list. And when we designed the directory, we really had the general public in mind, but we also had medical and healthcare providers in mind, because we want to make it easy for doctors and others to produce that list and then put it in someone's chart or hand it to them and really recommend, go to a memory cafe. That's one of the ways that people see life goes on, and there are other people who understand.
I love it, man. What a great execution, and and I agree that as convenient as these little devices can be, having that piece of paper and being able to sit down at a table and, hey, which one am I going to go to, is very convenient. So, well, I'd love to hear some real life stories. I love hearing, how this has impacted an individual. Do you have anything that you might want to share with us that could give us a glimpse of the change that Memory Cafe has impacted in somebody's life?
Sure, I'll give you a couple of stories. One story is a recent one. I got a phone call from a woman who was concerned about her longtime friend. This was someone she'd known since college, many decades earlier, who now is living with dementia. And she saw the isolation setting in. And in fact, one thing that I've heard from many, many people who've come to our cafe over the years is all of our friends disappeared, which is so heartbreaking. And I know that a lot of those friends want to stay close, but they don't know how. And so this person and I had a conversation, and I coached her a little on how to invite her friend to the cafe. She wasn't sure because her friend did have this symptom. It's a big fancy word, anosognosia, but it just means that one symptom of the dementia is that her friend wasn't really aware that she had cognitive changes. And so the coaching I gave was, don't worry about that. You know, my favorite phrase is focus on the feelings, not the facts. So it's not necessary for your friend to know, you know, this is a memory cafe. It's part of this global social movement, you know, da 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 da. You don't need to do that. You can just say, I heard about this program. They're going to have a musician with his guitar playing songs that we love from the 60s and people singing. There's going to be food. I'd love to go. Would you come with me? And that's what they did. And they had a great time. And I talked later with the friend who had initially contacted me, and she said, you know, I'm the only one out of our friend group who's stayed connected, but I'm going to call the other people and let them know about this. And maybe we can all do this together.
I love it.
So I just think about how much difference that makes. The person living with dementia is in the situation where all of her family lives at a distance, and they've been worried too. And just think how good it feels to them to know that there is this wonderful activity now on their dear person schedule and that friends are coming back together.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you know, I love how the Memory Cafe help bring together, strengthen existing friendships. Okay, in your example, one of the things that I've seen, not exclusive to dementia, but in all diagnosis, is that people will they'll get a diagnosis or they will have a health change, and they'll join a group of people that have the similar health change. And one thing that they've shared with me several times is the friends that I've developed now that I have this diagnosis and I'm connected with others are stronger than any friendship that I ever had my entire life. And there's a feeling of almost like, I wish I didn't have this, but man, I would have never have imagined that having a challenging diagnosis helped me connect with the best friends that I've had in my life.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And it's an example of our potential for human resilience. And it doesn't mean that if you had a magic wand, you wouldn't wave it and make the diagnosis go away, but we don't have that magic wand. And it is constantly inspiring to see the new connections that can form, the current connections that can be revitalized. I mean, one of the things I just see at memory cafes all the time, I see arms going around shoulders. I see hands being held. I see people who maybe are in the trenches together every day, going to the doctor, struggling with insurance, paperwork, you know, really trying to deal with that. Have this respite together where that spark of love between them or just respect between them can get a little fresh air and revitalization. So those are some of the good things that continue in people's lives with dementia if the opportunity is there.
I love it. Man, we've covered an awful lot today, but is there anything that we haven't that either of you haven't had the opportunity to share about Memory Cafes, Memory Cafe Alliance, or Dementia Friendly America?
Well, you said I could jump in, Steve. So I'm going to just to jump, add on to something that Beth said about friends disappearing and not because they don't care, they just don't know what to do. And so another opportunity through Dementia Friendly America is our Dementia Friends program. And it's where an individual can attend a session to learn about dementia, learn how to recognize the signs of dementia, and how to engage with someone living with dementia as a non-professional. So just how to be a friend, exactly what it's called, be a dementia friend. And oftentimes, people are so relieved to know that they can engage. And as Beth mentioned, it's not that they don't want to, they just don't know how. So it's really an opportunity. And I know that memory cafes often use the Dementia Friends sessions for people that are hosting a memory cafe to learn communication tips. So, again, it's why we joined with the Memory Cafe Alliance, because of the alignment of our work. And then just to touch quickly on, the relationship and the benefits to people living with dementia and care partners. I have a neighbor who who was part of a memory cafe for many years with his wife. And to this day, his wife has since passed 5 years ago, and he is so connected to the other partners. So even outside of the memory cafe, the friendships that were formed and the gift it has been to them as they've, both celebrated and grieved their loved ones, they are still together and finding such support in each other. So while a memory cafe is not a support group, the support that comes with it and the relationships that are formed that are long lasting outside of the memory cafe event itself is just incredible. And so the benefit to care partners is of equal and sometimes probably of even greater value than for the person living with the condition.
Man, I love it. Well, this is great, Beth. Any other things that you'd like to share that you haven't had the chance to share? I think this has been a great discussion.
I would love to invite your listeners to help spread the word. It's been interesting to see over the past 11 years that I've run this resource sharing network that even though these are free, joyful, wonderful programs that people love once they try them, it's hard to get the word out. And the reason is that there's so much silence about dementia. There's so much stigma. And also a lot of people have never heard of a memory cafe. So just imagine if you're living with a chronic degenerative neurological condition, you're dealing with the challenges of everyday life, it's that much harder to try something new that's unfamiliar. So if those who are listening, if this sparks something for you, please be our ambassadors. You can go to the directory and get that 1-minute video that Steve showed and share it. If you know someone in your community who might benefit from the Memory Cafe, please let them know. Please let your primary care doctor know that this is something that they can easily offer to people in their practice, and so on. We really, by working together in that way, we really make it possible for people to get the support that they need.
Love it. What an amazing resource. And I'm just blown away at how all these resources connect together under the Dementia Friendly America umbrella. This is amazing. So I want to thank you both for your time, and we'll look forward to seeing both of you and a lot of other people at the Friendsgiving, the Dementia Friendly America Friendsgiving celebration. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, Beth, for being just one of our longtime amazing champions. It was a gift to all of you to be able to hear from Beth today. She's just
I love it.
A DFA rock star.
And likewise, Mary, we could not do any of this without the backbone that Dementia Friendly America provides. So true gratitude to you and your team.
I love
Thank you. And thanks to you,
All
Steve,
right.
for bringing us on today.
You bet. Okay. See you all soon.